The bricks and mortar business, successful or not, is restricted. Changing your mindset is something that is difficult for people because you get ingrained into life and the way you're brought up as a child. Go and take a risk on things. Give things a go, because what have you got to lose? The people that you're talking to, they're negative. Those are the people that you have to let go out of your life. You can't just listen to one person 20 years ago and then think, oh, I know everything now. No, because I'm Matthew Fraser, and this is Amazon Ecom Secrets. I'll be sharing with you the secrets that helped me go from millions in debt to an 8-figure entrepreneur. If you're ready to escape the 9-to-5 and live life on your terms, let me show you the way. Something just came to me the other day, and it was after talking to a client, and then I realized that we don't think the same. I thought that everybody that came out of high school was instantly wanting to make money. That's what I just thought. Because even today, every single day, I'm thinking about money. How am I going to grow my wealth? How am I going to protect my wealth? How am I going to pay less tax? What new business am I going to acquire? I just assumed that this was a daily occurrence of everybody. And it turns out it's not. And it's because she said to me, Matthew, I've never read the book. Oh, she just came across the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I was like, what? You've just come across that book? Now, this book came out, 20 odd years ago. I thought that was a staple of everybody that was thinking about entrepreneurship, business, and it's definitely a go-to book. It's like the foundational book, one of the foundational books. And when you're thinking about growing your mindset, improving your mindset, sometimes the thing is you just don't know what you don't know. Like, she didn't know that there was Rich Dad, Poor Dad book that she should have gone and read in the very, very beginning. And there's a whole list of books that you should read. One of the former episodes actually I've done in Amazon Ecom Secrets is about some of the top books that I've read over the years and the foundational books that you should read. And changing your mindset is something that is difficult for people because you get ingrained into life and the way you're brought up as a child, which ultimately sort of leads you to how you think as an adult. And there was a guy I was talking to the other day, as a tradesman, and he was thinking about starting his own business, but his dad had said, who's also a tradie, had said, oh no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. It's too much risk. And I thought, really? Now's the time to take risk. You're only like 25. Go and take a risk on things. Yeah, give things a go. Because what have you got to lose? When I was first starting out on my entrepreneurial journey coming out of high school, I was just bombarded with things, with knowledge. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to increase my knowledge on things. And back then, the thing to do was property. And so I read that Steve McKnight book, which I think most property people have read, 0 to 100 properties in 5 years, something like that. And he talks about positively geared properties. And I thought, geez, this is a winning formula. Read through that book, went on to the next one, just started reading anything I could possibly get my hands on to do with property investing, which actually led me then to start buying a number of properties. And by the age of 25, I had about 4 or 5 properties, which back then was extraordinary. Like none of my friends even had one property, let alone 4 or 5 properties. So, and it just was a case of me getting knowledge from other people who were more successful or in the place where I wanted to be. Steve McKnight, as an example, as well as a whole bunch of other authors at the time, were showing me the way that this was possible. And I think because I was so young as well, I didn't know any different. I didn't know that this wasn't normal. Looking back, I can see, because of course, like I said, all my friends, they were struggling to get their first property. They weren't even thinking about it, to be honest. They were just thinking about partying and what they were going to do on the weekend. And I was just completely obsessed with growing wealth. And so when you're obsessed with that, things just happen because you start taking action. It just becomes like a normal everyday thing. It wasn't until I got to my mid-30s that the internet sort of became a place where I thought, wow, I could actually make money using the internet, right? Because before that, I wasn't thinking internet, because we had this whole dream of, as you guys probably know, buying the Hungry Jack's restaurant, bricks and mortar store with a lot of staff, a lot of overheads, but we'd seen other people become successful in the, fast food restaurant niche. So we thought, great, well, let's give that a go. And ultimately that then led into, hey, changing the model. And I think that's something that people should really take on board, is when you get new information, when you get more knowledge, you have to switch. And the key for me was getting the knowledge that the bricks and mortar business, successful or not, is restricted. The bricks and mortar business, particularly a restaurant, no one from Sydney is flying up to the Gold Coast area to come and buy Hungry Jack's at my restaurant. They're going to Sydney restaurant. So you've only got the circumference of people in your vicinity who are coming to your restaurant. When you then think about online sales, the entire globe is your customer. And that is just a huge mental shift. And it's not, I think in Australia, we can kind of get a bit locked into Australia, thinking about Australia only. Then you go overseas. And I remember going to China. And when I went to China, unbelievable, the amount of people there, it's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And then you really open up your mind to, wow, I just have to sell a few products a day to become like a millionaire. You know what I mean? So there's how many, a billion people or something in China? Even if you think about America, right? America is pretty much where most action happens as far as online sales. And when you go to America, and I've been to the States, and again, there's just people everywhere, and you think, wow, I just have to sell 10 products a day or something, 10, 20 products a day to these 300 million people, and I could retire on that, which is just an extraordinary mind shift to make. And so to get that mind shift though, you've got to expose yourself to different things, whether it's investing in yourself by mentors, or actually going overseas and seeing for yourself that, wow, there's more people outside of Australia. Now, talking about mentors, I started off with, I remember back in about year 2000, I bought Tony Robbins' Personal Power 2, I think it was, and it was like a DVD or a CD set. It came in the mail and everything. And even back then, I was obviously thinking about getting educated on things and changing my mindset, because the guy on TV, he said, change your mindset and that'll help you. And I thought, brilliant, let's do that. But when I really, I think ultimately things layer on top of each other. I wonder if I would have bought, 5 properties by 25, or bought a Hungry Jack's restaurant by 29, if I hadn't had listened to Tony Robbins when I was 21. Because I think your life is just a series of learnings. One thing just piles on top of the next thing. Even right now, I was just doing some education on AI tools, right? For the past couple of years, maybe 3 years now, I've been focusing on YouTube and growing this WRX YouTube channel. Not because I think I'm going to make money from WRX channel, but I just wanted to know how to use that system. And I think in the future, I'll look back and say, it was because I did that. I spent, years doing this hobby WRX YouTube channel is the reason why I'm now doing XYZ channel. So one of the things I'm looking at right now is do I buy an existing faceless YouTube channel, right? Now, these things make money without me having to actually be on camera, right? WRX channel, I was on camera. Perhaps the episode that you're watching right now, I'm clearly on camera talking. But a faceless YouTube channel is really just a content channel about a variety of different things that becomes monetized through AdSense, so Google pays you money. And I don't think I'd be in the position of even looking at buying one of those channels if I hadn't had already spent the last 3 years playing around with my WRX YouTube channel. So sometimes you can't see it going into the future when you're investing in yourself. It's not until you look back that you realize that that money that you paid for the course, the experiment with YouTube, the learning with AI tools was all worth it, because it now has led you to this new point in your life where you're now successful. And there's been some key moments in my life where I can see not only Tony Robbins, but in later years, even simple things like Grant Cardone played a massive influence on my life. I absorbed every single one of his books. I started with the 10X Rule and then just went into everything Grant Cardone. And he was another guy who was pushing the boundaries of my mind. Because even though I had started with Tony Robbins back in 2000, what you find is that you can't just listen to one person 20 years ago and then think, oh, I know everything now. I don't need to listen to any more mentors. I'm good. No, because you need constant reminding, you need constant accountability to push yourself, to learn more, and the world is forever changing. And if you're wanting to keep getting to the next level, then you need to seek people who are in higher levels than you to get that knowledge. And I can tell you, just even from a tax point of view, my goal when I was really, really broke, my goal was I want to be in the position to pay tax, because you know that if you're paying tax, you must be making money. But then when you get to the position where you're doing millions of dollars a year, you can imagine the tax bill comes knocking. So now the new mindset is, or the new shift in my mindset is, I do want to pay tax, but I want to pay as little as possible. Because I tell you, when you have to start forking over checks to the tax office in the 6+ figure, and I'm talking very, very high 6, verging on 7 figures of a tax bill, it does not feel good at all. It's brutal. And you think, and even worse than that is that the government is just so hopeless at spending the tax dollars that you give them. And they're supposed to be doing it for the right reasons, but honestly, the amount of money they piss up the wall is just ridiculous. So therefore you want to minimize that. One of the things I now get to do, though, just as a side note, is I now get to contribute to charities of which I think are making a great contribution in Australia. There's a range of charities that I donate to now, and hopefully that's some of the things that you'll get to do when you start making millions of dollars as well, is to direct your money into charities that are already doing great things, if not in Australia, then in the world. Sometimes when you join a coaching group, whether it be in Facebook ads, in Amazon, Ecom, generally it'll come with a network of people. And it's great connecting with that network because they generally start talking your language. And I'll give you the story. Is a guy who I'm friends with, who I grew up with from sort of about 19 years old. You can look back over the years and you can see that the periods where you've sort of started to drift apart. And it's mainly around money, unfortunately. Because as I've gotten more successful and accumulated more wealth and more properties and cars and all those sort of fun things, he has not. But he could have. He could have done exactly the same types of things that I've done, but for whatever reason just chose not to do those things. And sadly, the relationship has just gotten a little bit separated, because the things that I want to talk about, he's not. It's actually painful, I think, for him to listen to be honest, because he doesn't want to hear about, how I just bought another commercial property or how I'm buying another new car or whatever. He doesn't want to know about that shit because it's a reminder of the things that he actually would like to do but hasn't. And so the conversations that I have with him now, I don't tell him anything about the success, new house, whatever, all right? I just leave it off and just keep it very, very general. But that's what's so good about joining these groups, because you can start talking about all the things that you love to talk about, whether it's crypto, whether it's investing, buying properties, and you want to surround yourself with people who celebrate your success. I just ran into a friend of mine literally today, and I said, "What is that on your wrist?" And you know what he had? A brand new Rolex. I was like, wow, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I was genuinely happy for him, right? This is a multiple five-figure watch. And, I was there celebrating with him. I'm like high-fiving this guy because I know what it's taken. Now, also knowing his backstory as well, I know what it's taken for him to get there. Like in his life, it has not been simple. It doesn't just get handed to him. He's had to work extremely hard. And it's just one of those items that sort of just says, yeah, I've made it. It doesn't make you a better person or anything, but it's just a little bit of icing on the cake, I think, to say, yeah, I've worked really hard. I've now bought something that most people don't get to buy. And I was really, really happy for him. So those are the types of people that I like to surround myself with, those who are successful, who do well, happy to show their success because I'm happy for them too. Sometimes you're on a mission, right? You're on your own mission to succeed, and you find that the people that you're talking to are not on your side, right? They're not happy for you. And I hate to say this, but those are the people that you have to let go out of your life. Now, I don't mean if it's your parents, you never talk to them ever again, or, family members and things like that. Friends, obviously, friends are much easier to let go because they're not family. And what I mean is you maybe just distance yourself from them, because you don't want to be having phone calls with these people and they're negative, right? There's nothing worse than having negative people. Here's an example. You ring up a friend, you tell them that you've just started doing this Amazon training program, and they're like, oh, I think it's a scam. Oh, I don't think that'll work. Oh, people can't make any money there. And these types of negative thoughts start sitting in the back of your mind, and they give you doubt, right? And so it's very easy for you then, because kind of in the back of your mind, you're almost looking for a way not to do it, because it's easier not to do it. And when someone tells you something negative about the program or about how that particular way of making money, it's just easy to say, oh yeah, you're right. And particularly if it's just like, an every day, every week thing, if it's a friend of yours or something, it's just so easy to put doubt in your mind, and then you can just easily give up. And you don't want that, because you want to be surrounded by people who are encouraging, who hold you to account, right? But not negative Nancy's. You want to get rid of those people. People often talk about manifestation. I can't even say the word. Manifestation. And that is, I guess, like visualizing, writing down things that you hope to achieve in your life. And I can tell you, I was doing that for a long time. I'm talking years. And one of the things I used to do, there's actually two things. The main one was I had a Grant Cardone 10X diary, and I followed that diary, and it had something like, write down your goals or something like that. And I used to always, like daily, I'd write down the number I wanted per month. It was like it started off at like $50,000 a month in sales. And then once I achieved that, I then had to move it up to the next thing. It was like $100,000 a month. And then I was like, wow, I'm thinking way too small here. I've really got to 10x this. So I literally went to $1 million a month was my new goal. And then got to $1 million a month and beyond. And it was just complete focus. Like that was the number. I want to achieve that. But I also wrote down just other things that I wanted, like, new car. I think I had this Mercedes written down for a long time. The Mercedes C63 AMG was a dream car. I really wanted one of those. I had that written down for years. Would have been, I can't remember the exact ones, but I think like new house would have been there. So I've achieved the new house on the hill with ocean views. But more than that, I mean, I wrote those down for just like daily for years. And the thing is, like, why would you write them down like that? It's because it keeps it in the top of your mind. It's the focus, right? Because if you lose focus, you kind of just forget where you're going, okay? And the reason why you're doing it as well. Think about it now. I mean, I have to write down daily the things I need to do for the day. My mind gets sidetracked very easy. Of course, with social media, because I'm on social media so much. I'm also looking at social media a lot, and I can get sidetracked from the daily tasks that I need to do to keep my business operating. So I have to write basically a checklist that I have to do this, do this, do this. I find that I will waffle off somewhere in my mind, and I literally have to come back to the diary and look at my list and go, oh yeah, that's what I'm doing. I've got to pay invoices, or I've got to transfer money, or I've got to do some Amazon photos or whatever it is, right? I actually have to have that there. Otherwise, if I looked down and there was nothing there, I'd be like, oh, what was I doing again? So even I need to remain focused. And that's exactly what the manifestation thing does. It keeps you focused every day on, I'm trying to achieve this, I'm working towards this is what I'm doing. I highly recommend you do it. I even went further than that. And I had a picture of this exact car on my whiteboard. I'd photocopied a picture, put on the whiteboard for years. And that was the car I wanted to get. I even at one point had one of those visual boards, like the dream board, I guess you would call it. And I had the house and the Porsche and something, right? I honestly think they work. But clearly you can't just have the board there and then just like go and sit on the couch. Right, you've got to start taking action. So I think if you aim for the things that you want, you write them down, you maybe put them on a visual board, that may help you as well. But then it's like, okay, cool, I want those things. Now what do I need to do to get those things? And if you want those things badly enough, you'll take action. And that might mean getting a coach. It might even just be something simple, like going to YouTube and researching how to sell on Amazon. That literally could be it, right? Dip your toe into the water. You could even come and join my Amazon Ecom Secrets program right now, which would allow you to dip your toe in the water by getting a product live on Amazon within like 5 hours, which is, I must say, probably an amazing feat. Because then even if you tried it, you got a product live on Amazon, it would cost you probably like $20 to do that. And then you can just see if that's what you want. You might go through that process and then think, Amazon's not for me, which is fine, but at least you've only done it with like minimal money rather than shelling out thousands and thousands of dollars in stock to only realize that it's something that you didn't want to do. So that could be something for you. Find the link around this video somewhere if you want to do that. But obviously there's lots of free things you can do, including going through my own free content on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. There is zero barrier to entry to go and check out all those videos. Yeah, and I give away so much gold in those videos as well. You should go and check them out. And if there's something that you need me to talk about that I didn't talk about, write me a comment, let me know what you want to hear. Yeah, happy to do a new video on something that might interest you. It's one thing I realized when I became a multi-millionaire was that there's just way more levels to achieve. I kind of thought by becoming a multi-millionaire that all the problems would be solved, I'd be happy. And don't get me wrong, I'm much happier now with the problems that I have than when I was broke with the problems that I had. I'd rather have problems when I'm richer than when I'm broker. That is for sure. It makes it a lot easier. But it just becomes different problems. For example, I don't have to worry about electricity prices. I don't have to worry about petrol prices, food prices. If I want to go to the supermarket and buy the best premium steak and I just buy it, I don't even care. Same with restaurants, right? Whatever I want, you just order. So there's that level of you don't have to worry about. But then when you get to, as you get richer, you also generally, you increase your living expenses. So now I have, I think I've got like 7 cars, 2 of which are just daily cars, including the Mercedes. There's a daily car. But then I built out this, I bought out a Subaru WRX car collection, which is like 5 at the moment. Now, it's not that I can't afford them. It's just that there's more things to do, right? So I've really just put more things on my plate, because then I have to get 5 lots of servicing on those cars. Well, if you think about all the cars, I've got to get 7 lots of servicing every year, 7 lots of regos. With the Subarus, half of them are older cars. So every year you've got to get the bloody roadworthy certificate done. It just becomes a pain, to be honest. So there's 7 lots of car problems, right? It's like right now I've got this beautiful home, and it just seems like every week there's something needs fixing. The plaster's not right, but I'm also building out a new shed. So the shed, then the electricity didn't work properly. So I get the electrician to come back, and then the toilet blocked up for some reason. So I've got to get the plumber to come out. It's just problem. I'm like, Jesus, I need a full-time, a PA just to manage the tradespeople that are coming to the house. And then she can manage all the cars as well. And then of course I've also bought out more properties as well. So then you've got not so much tenants to deal with. I have a property manager that does that, but it's you just get more bills coming through. So those bills then take more time, because then you've got to think about land tax is a new one that I've had to start thinking about lately, which is the most ridiculous tax. Then of course it's multiple body corporates if you're in a body corporate. There's just lots of things. Yeah, and I will say, it's all first world problems. These are not really problems. There's people in Australia right now who can't even put a roof over their head, because the government's brought in so many people as immigrants who, from what I hear, aren't even contributing to society but taking up all the housing. So the citizens of this country now can't even afford to get into a house, which I think is an absolute disgrace on this current Labor federal government. A disgrace. They're spending so much money on crap without even thinking about the citizens of Australia. And so that's my 2 cents of political content for today. So ultimately, what I'm saying is there's people doing it really, really tough in Australia. I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you some of the things that comes onto your plate as you start to get wealthier and you accumulate more things. Yeah. I could flip it around for sure. I could just sell off everything, just have just Bitcoin only, which doesn't require really any maintenance at all. And that's it. Don't have to worry about the car regos, don't worry about insurances, nothing. But of course, that's the life that I've chosen to lead, because I'm also trying to build my wealth. And back to the original statement, which is the more wealthy you get, the more assets you buy, there's always just a whole nother level of wealth that you think you need to get to, right? And then all of a sudden you think, well, actually, I don't even have money. Because what you also realize is, even when you become a multi-millionaire, you're kind of at the bottom, right? You might be in the top 1%. I'm in the top 1% of income earners in Australia, but I'm at the very bottom of the 1%. And that is somewhat humbling. So much to achieve. All right, guys, I think it's going to be enough for today as I share my thoughts, but I really do hope you guys push your mind, get educated, get mentoring, get into courses, whatever it is that can help you achieve and get to the next level, and at least get out of the 9 to 5 matrix. Or if you're in the business matrix, get out of the business matrix and get to the total financial freedom level. Thanks for tuning into Amazon Ecom Secrets. If you enjoyed this episode, the best way to show your support is to give a 5-star review on Apple Podcast and Spotify, and make sure to subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss an episode. You can also find more at I'm Matthew Fraser on all social media platforms. Thanks so much. Take care.